Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Transitioning now to one of my favorite police chiefs of all time. Well, it's because it's the only one I know, I guess, so it makes it easy to be the favorite. It's Chad Brecklin, your chief of the Fitchburg Police Department. Chad, welcome back to the show.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Jeremy?
Hey, I'm living the dream. Glad to have you up here. I know all of you staff down there are staying busy for the new year.
Sure
but
are.
We appreciate the time as always. We do a monthly update here, and today we're going to focus on the winter time.
Yes.
As winter is here.
We've had reoccurrence of winter here this week.
What are you talking about the last couple of days being...
The snow shoveling I've done the last 2 mornings before work.
You mean the chief has to shovel his own snow?
Well, unless he gets his 2 kids out there to help.
Sounds like you're not managing your kids right.
They helped yesterday, but I gave them a break today. So.
Well, that was a mistake because this was a lot heavier snow today
I
than
know.
it was yesterday.
I figured tomorrow they'll be back at it again.
Gotcha. Chad, let's get right into it. We'll start with alternate side parking. In effect, as we do have snow pile up like this, just quickly remind people of this and that citations can and are being enforced during this time.
Yeah, so since November 15th, alternate side parking regulations have been in effect in the city, and what that means is at midnight, whatever the day is or date on the calendar is at midnight, as your graphic is now showing us, if it's an even date, you should park on the even side of the road. If it's an odd date, please park on the odd side of the road. And I also encourage folks to remember when you go from like January 31st to February 1st that are back-to-back odd days. So keep that in mind in case you get into a habit of every other night moving your car to the other side of the road to pay attention. But we do issue citations for that, largely because we want to try to make the highway department's job a little bit easier. They've got a challenging job maneuvering those big snowplows, not only in our rural highways, but also in our residential areas as well. And when you have a car that's sitting there for an extended period of time, it does make it harder for those folks to do their jobs. So that's the reason we're out there, is really to help maintain safe, clean streets, allows not only plow access, but also emergency vehicle access as well. Fire department has large vehicles, EMS rigs, and those sorts of things. So our civilian service employees are also out during the daytime, and typically what you'll see is they'll orange tag a vehicle to give an owner notice that they need to really get that car moved, and we could be back in 48 hours to potentially tow that car. So that's alternate side parking in a nutshell. And if anyone has any questions, they can certainly hit our website. I'm sure there's information out there, or just simply call the police department and ask a couple questions of the dispatcher or supervisor on duty.
Yeah, it's very important, as you said, keeping the roadways clear. As we know in Wisconsin, once it comes down in the snow, it freezes, melted, and it just you're just causing more havoc than what we want to have. A nice graphic created by one of your staff was going into the wintertime on some reminders here, and we'll look at that now. And I like this first one: never leave your car unlocked, running, and unattended. It's like the nutshell of the last 3 segments we've done.
Yeah, so our resident graphic artist, Lieutenant Ned Hartwick, created this this nice, friendly winter reminder, and I certainly have been on your show a number of times talking about the fact that you cannot leave your car running, unlocked, and unattended because your car may not be in the place that you started it and left it running, unlocked and unattended when you come back to it.
Right.
So that really doesn't differ any from the winter to the summer any longer, unfortunately. But again, please do not do that. There are remote start kits available. I know some folks, obviously, their car may come with it. You could potentially do an aftermarket set up that route if that is something that is truly important to you. But again, please do not do that. It's just creating a crime of opportunity and a very significant inconvenience to yourself if your car is gone.
Yeah, that's you're just adding to an issue that's out there. So some easy tips here. Again, not trying to put it on anybody, but the simple tip to prevent that crime from happening. Another crime of opportunity, and it comes with the playing outside and shoveling, is the garage door being left open. again, same guidelines here.
Right. Yeah, just always be sure to close that garage door, particularly if you're not going to be in sight of the garage. It's, it's obviously one thing if you're going to be out shoveling snow in your driveway and those sorts of things to leave your garage door open. It's completely in sight. You're going to see if anybody happens to go inside. But, if you're out in the backyard, maybe you don't want to leave that garage door open, and certainly try to remember to close that every night when you come in, come home from work or whatever the case may be, and certainly, if the kids come in or whatever. We do see occasions where people are entering unlocked garages or open garage doors and then potentially going into houses through unlocked doors from the garage into the house. So I will also encourage folks to keep that door into your house locked at all times. There are some relatively inexpensive code locks out there at Menards or Home Depot that can give you that peace of mind that the door is always going to be locked, but you don't have to worry about kids or family members losing keys and not being able to get in. So please take those measures, and it'll just help ensure some personal safety.
I think about you every night. And it's not in a weird,
well, I'm glad you're clarifying.
Also, I'll see you after class, I think, because of that.
But I hope not while you're sleeping either.
Every time that I close the garage door at night, I lock it because I'm like, Chad would be yelling at me right now if I didn't do that. So, very, very important tip there. On the sidewalk side of things,
yes.
A city ordinance to remove snow and ice. Again, I know not something that you're out there necessarily looking for, but really this is back to the safety element.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that it is a pedestrian safety and access situation. I happened to see someone in another community a couple days ago when I was out running some errands. A gentleman who was in a wheelchair was obviously unable to get into a sidewalk because it had been snowed over and had not been cleared. So, just think of other perspectives there when you're maybe treading a little bit of snow removal or trying to find that time, is that there's a need to have those sidewalks clear. We usually handle that only on a complaint basis, and actually that's typically handled by the building inspection department, but it's an important winter thing to take care of. Yeah,
and it combines with this one, and I saw this morning coming to work. I don't know what the last couple of days, we just got a little lazy out there, but cleaning off your car before you're heading out. Chief, if you could just tell me what's the efficient clean off, because I can tell you this morning, car had just a little rub on each side window. Nothing else was cleaned off, and the wipers had cleaned enough off of the windshield. What are we looking at here?
You really should take the time to really clean all of the windows in your car. Clean them off, remove any snow, remove any frost or ice that's on them. Not just the windshield, not just the back window because it's convenient with the rear defroster, but also take and clean off those side windows as well. It's going to make your driving a lot less likely to be it's going to make you a lot less likely to be in an accident because you're going to be able to see at intersections when you're trying to cross and those sorts of things. So just take a couple extra minutes to do those sorts of things, and none of us enjoy that. Our police cars are, believe it or not, they're kept outside, and we're scraping just like everybody else. So we understand that it's not always the most convenient from a time perspective, and sometimes it's not fun to be sitting out there getting cold and wet, but take that time to clean them off. You're going to be safer on the roads.
Can you be cited for that?
You can if your windows are not reasonably clean or clear from debris. An officer could cite you for that violation. Odds are we're probably only going to deal with that in the most egregious of situations if we see somebody rolling down the highway that clearly didn't spend the time that they should have, or if it was a contributing factor in a crash.
Absolutely. And speaking of crash, it's like we planned this out or something today. I don't know, Chad. But if we do get in here quickly, you get into that situation of a slide off or worse. Ultimately, are we calling the police on this because we're in somebody's property? Where would you say or the action we should take?
Yeah, you're probably best to call the police just in case you maybe slid into a fence or a utility box or something. That way we can do the report. And odds are your insurance company is going to need a report anyway if your car was damaged. So I would encourage folks to call the police, use their cell phone. I would also encourage folks to stay in their car. If it's slippery out that caused you to go into the ditch, it's quite likely that somebody else in the same area could also slide off the road. And the last thing we'd want to see is somebody get injured as a result of that. So make an effort to make that call. Try to keep an emergency kit in your car with maybe some water and blanket and a snack and those sorts of things, and a cell phone charger, and hopefully you'll be okay.
Chad, always a pleasure to have you on here. Appreciate the time, and we'll get you back here next month.
Sounds great.
All right, it's Chad Brecklin, Chief of Police. We'll wrap up the show next. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.